honestly quite the vibe I've created here from having basically no great lighting source, and we love it. Just want to make sure we can get some music in. Let me lower the gain so we can try and get less of this fan sound in the background. Be nice. That'd be nice. We'll also have to then lower the music because it's supposed to be here just to create vibes, not take over the whole show. Whole shebang, the whole kit and caboodle. Is this... How does this sound? How does this sound? I think we're pretty good here. I think we're pretty good here. But naturally, when I ask, it is because, like, it's the exact same time that the music pretty much just stops. And so that is skewed view, you know? And, you know, that's always the struggle. Oh God, that was loud and in my ear. Love it. I think we're good. I think we're pretty solid audio wise. I think we can make it. Okay. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and get this party started with the mid-year book freakout tag. I'm joining the party, guys, for once. Yeah. We're gonna be doing a mid-year book freakout tag over here, and it's gonna be a whole hoot and a half. I have a whole PowerPoint ready to show you all, to answer all these super cool questions that came from the tag. So let's jump into it with the first question. I'm not gonna lie, some of these I definitely had, you know, we needed some debating. There were probably multiple answers that could have gone to several of these, but we're doing our best to narrow it down. And there's one question that we couldn't narrow it below like 10 and we'll get there. But for right now, question number 1, the best book you've read so far. There we go. Best book you've read so far. Okay. For me, the best book I've read so far, I've read a lot of really good books. And I don't even know if I would consider this to be what I'm gonna say like is my favorite book of the quarter, or if it's my favorite book of the year. But I felt the need to acknowledge this book in this tag, and that is Clap When You Land. It is the story about this guy who has basically 2 lives, 2 families that don't know, for the most part, at least the girl, his 2 daughters, know nothing about each other. He dies in a plane crash on his way to go from one daughter to the next, and it's about them grieving and finding out about each other, and it's written in prose, and it was phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Loved that book. Next, best sequel I've read so far. I didn't really read many sequels this year. Yeah, I think I started a handful of series, but I didn't really read many sequels. So this is like the only sequel I actually did read, and that I did read and liked, and that is Sophie Dreams Big by Kiki Palmer and Jasmine Guillory. This series was really cute. This is from the Southern Belle Insults series. Why is it not changing? is from the Southern Belle Insult series, where it's about this woman who is shy and she's awkward and she can't stand up for herself and stuff like that. And one day she stumbles into this wig shop and is given this wig that has magical powers and basically takes over, like, the personality that embodies this wig takes her over, and she goes through like that with all these different wigs for a while until, you know, she starts to believe in herself. And I thought it was cute, it was funny, I loved the series. Good fun read. Next, the new release I haven't read yet but want to. I've been dying to read A Magic Steeped in Poison, and I really want to read it. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I really want to read it. This is what happens when you have, like, no time to read. I wish I had more time to read, but at the moment we're struggling to get by. Sometimes we only read one book in a month. We're working on getting better, but what am I talking about? There's nothing I can do. I don't have time, and I'm tired all of the time, and I also don't have a massive, like, access to books, you know what I mean. But, so, I would love to. I don't know if I'll get to it this year, but, oh my god, do I want to read this book. Next is the most anticipated read of the second half of the year, which I have two answers for this one. Number one, easily is The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I'm so ready for this book. Aiden Thomas is one of my, like, auto-buy authors, and by auto-buy I mean I'm poor, and I will just, however I'm able to get this book, I will get this book. And I loved Cemetery Boys. I'm obsessed with Lost in the Neverwoods, and I have every intention of whatever I need to do to get, because he has trading cards for the characters in the book, whatever I have to do to get all 10 trading cards, it will happen. I need them. They look so good. The series looks so good. Or duology. It's gonna be a duology. It looks so good. And I physically can't wait. I physically cannot wait for this book. September is going to be, like, don't bother me. This is all I'm doing in September. Okay. After that, though, my other answer for this book, and get ready for the most shameless plug you've ever seen, The Queen of Thieves, book number 4. The Queen of Thieves is the series I wrote. This is book number 1. Book number 1. It is about a Afro-Latina girl, depressed, who is agreeing to work with a government that destroyed her whole fucking life. Book 4 I'm currently editing, and it's you're not ready. You are not ready for this book. I'm so excited for this to come out. It's going to come out towards the end of the year. Book 3 came out at the beginning of the year. That is Island Affairs. Catwalk Criminals is book 2 that came out last year. Oh my god, very excited to share this with you guys and see what you think. The next question, and I might get shit for this one, but hear me out. My biggest disappointment of the year, Legendborn. Hear me out. So my issue with this series, or with this book, is everything having to do with the mental health of it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. They basically demonize a 16-year-old girl for acting out literally 3 months after her mother dies. And it not only just comes from the people around her, as it also comes from a therapist character who goes on this, like, very aggressive list of diagnoses that literally aren't, like, this therapist, for the record, doesn't actually sit down at any point and have a conversation with this child. And so she's which that makes her not qualified to give any form of diagnoses, but she gives a list of diagnoses that aren't relevant when you realize this child's mother died only 3 months ago. You cannot tell me. I am not convinced. You will not convince me that they even had a chance to have a funeral yet for this mother. And everyone's super like, you've changed. No fucking shit. Like, of course she's changed. Mom's not in the ground yet. What are you talking about? And like the book goes very hard on demonizing her for that. And I discuss it more on, I have a dedicated review of Legendborn where I discuss it more, and I discuss it more in depth, and I discuss how the specific things with the therapist are just so bad. And like, because of that, I genuinely would never feel comfortable telling someone to read this, sending them to look at this book, unless I gave them like a 20-page dissertation as to why all of these things are harmful and all of that stuff. I don't feel comfortable with this book at all because of it. Again, just hear me out. If you want a more in-depth look at what I'm talking about here, I have a dedicated stream to this book. If you want me to do like a reel or a TikTok kind of doing a slightly shorter summary, I can do that as well. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, very, very big disappointment. I thought this was going to be a 5-star read when I first started it, and we did not get there. Moving on, my biggest surprise, I have not done my review of this book yet, but Pew by Catherine Lacey I was so engaged with this book, especially the latter half. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I want to have stuff to talk about for the stream that I'm going to do, the live show I'm going to do on it. But I really, really, really appreciate the look of, or how the book depicts and shows the way people try and like steal autonomy from someone disabled or someone who, because from what it seems like Pew struggles with speaking. It's not necessarily just that they won't speak, but they seemingly kind of can't speak, which would be a disability. It would be something similar to something you and I have. But like, it's so interesting to see how they immediately steal their autonomy and are willing to justify assaulting this person because they can't tell them anything different. And it's a very, very, very good book. I really want to read it again. Next, favorite new author, debut or new to me. This author was new to me, and that is going to be the wonderful Elizabeth Acevedo. Oh God. Did I break it? I broke it a little bit, but we're fine. Elizabeth Acevedo from Clap When You Land. Again, this is going to be an auto-buy author. Definitely going to try and run through all of their books. I'm so excited. I loved the story. I cried. I'm so mad. I was going to do a dedicated stream discussing it, but like, for some reason, Kindle corrupted literally all of the notes I took on it. And so, like, that really depressed me. And so we're not going to be doing a stream about that. The next stream I'm going to be doing probably next week is going to be on The Monsters We Defy, which we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, that Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, wonderful, wonderful book. Next question is my newest fictional crush. Speaking of The Monsters We Defy, Jessie Lee from The Monsters We Defy. My type is a bit of a jackass. That is specifically what I am attracted to. And oh my God, is Jessie Lee just that, you little fucker. I love it. I love Jessie Lee. Like, they had Israel, his cousin, as like the suave, everyone's like obsessed with him. I'm good. Jessie Lee is all I need. Oh my God. This is actually a book I got as an ARC. Read it, doing my review next week. and then we'll share the notes that I take on it on Patreon as usual. And hopefully they won't be super mad because it took me this long to, you know, finish reading and get around to reviewing and all that stuff. That's why it stresses me out to get arcs, is because, like, I'm not a fast reader, and these things definitely don't like fast readers. I'd prefer to get an arc directly from, like, an author or a smaller, like, not NetGalley. Just not NetGalley. NetGalley stresses me out. But we did get this book from NetGalley, and it was a great read. Next question, my new favorite character, it's still Jessie Lee. Of all the books that I read this, like, first half of the year, Jessie Lee is, like, the only character that really stood out so much that I loved. The only closest thing would be a character from a book that I again, can't recommend to anyone, so I'm not gonna gush about an aspect of it here. But yeah, Jessie Lee, oh my god, I absolutely love him. He also has this amazing bro code moment that we're going to talk about in the stream, and I adore him. Moving on, though, next is a book that made you cry. This is another one that I have 2 answers for. Number 1, her name is Night. This book, I have such complicated feelings about. I forgot the actual chapters, but in my review, I specifically say, I might have even, like, put it on my Goodreads review of this book. If I did one, I might not have done one. But, like, this book is split into, like, the past and the present, and I hate everything about, like, 99% of the present, because they, like, try and force this romance that just, like, the dude is just so boring and bland and just unimpressionable, but they still try and force it to a point of, like, the main character is literally willing to let her whole family die for this guy, and I don't see it, and so I can't stand it. It's so boring. But everything about the before, oh my god, it is so phenomenally written. I relate to it in an extremely intense way. It is definitely very, very, I don't want to say it's heavy, because it didn't feel heavy, but it's also because, like, I do have a lot of experiences with I do have some experiences with some of, like, things they talk about in those sections, and so it read more like a sitcom to me, because it's like, oh my god, same tier, but same, but, so I don't want to say it's heavy, but it does deal with some serious topics. Let's say that. Big, I gave it a 5 stars, but again, like, all of the chapters having to do with this fucking dude, oh my, I genuinely was willing to 1-star this book because of that. It was just pissing me off so much, but the other half of it was so good, and then the finale, so good. Oh god, it was so many complicated feelings about this book. I did another dedicated, every novel, I believe, that it's on here, I've done a dedicated review for, except for Pew and The Monsters We Defy, and of course anything that I specifically say I'm anticipating to read. Everything, and the other 2 I just haven't gotten to yet, but everything else I should have a dedicated review for on this channel. The other selection I had for the books that made you cry, surprise, surprise, the Queen of Thieves series by Brianna Bond. Got some very, like, some very sad and traumatizing scenes in these books. got people crying. Book 4 is gonna have people crying, and I'm so excited for it. So excited for it. Link is down below. Next question, a book that made me happy. The Monsters We Defy. I was just fucking grinning when I came to the end of this book. I was just so happy. Everyone had a happy ending. I was just so glad everyone had a happy ending. Everyone was okay. It made me feel good. It wasn't like the conclusion kind of felt like a typical, we defeated the monster and now everything's like happily ever after. But god damn it, did they deserve that happily ever after? Oh my god. I wanted them to have that happily ever after, and then they got it. It's just it feels so good. It feels so good. Next is the most beautiful book I've got all year. I don't have some money, so I didn't buy a book, but I did read this. I checked it out from the library. I actually have this book and the Sunbury Trials. I have prints of the covers on this little magnetic print board above my desk, and the book is Ace of Spades. I loved this book. I think the cover is gorgeous, and 10/10, absolutely recommend it. I'm switching up the last two because the next question is going to be extremely it's going to be long. It's going to be a bit of a marathon. But favorite book to movie adaptation I've seen this year. Now, I have not seen a book to movie adaptation. Like, I've not really seen a book to movie adaptation here. And so we're going to finagle with this a little bit. We're going to go technically comic, technically slightly comic book adaptation. I don't know how true to like the comic it is at all, which is why it feels like it's a bit of a cheat. As well as we're gonna go a TV show, because even like finagling this all around for a movie I saw this year, I can't say I like saw one that I really liked that much. But so we're gonna go comic book to TV show adaptation with Moon Knight. I thought this was a great show. I thought Oscar Isaac did phenomenal. I thought it was funny. I loved the balance between the mental health and the other aspects of his character, which I think is super, super important. There were a couple things that like were a little iffy to me, but for the most part, I really did love this show. Good times, hilarious. Can't wait to see more. Hoping it is not a part of the MCU proper, but we'll see. And finally, the last question, what books do I need to read this year? We have 2 slides on this one. Slide number 1 is quite full. In case you didn't know, I did a bit of a thing earlier this year. It is called the 5-star book draft. 5-star book draft. That's what it was. 5-star book draft. And for it, you basically just pick at least 5 books that you presume are going to be 5 stars, and then at the end average out all the ratings to see how good you are at actually guessing. And I have gone through several of those books already this year. Legendborn was one of them. Ace of Spades was a 5-star. I think the only other draft pick I had was The Chosen and the Beautiful, which I ended up DNFing. So, we started off great with this. I might have some more, but we'll definitely do a checkup when I do my second quarter wrap up. We'll do a check-in on the book draft. But I have a ton of books still on this list that I need to address. We've got Heroine Complex. Oh god, what are you doing? Go back. Sneak peek, it's fine. We've got Heroine Complex right over here, which that book I have currently, and so it's absolutely going to be read. And Dread Nation is my plan for right after that, followed by the first Spy X Family graphic novel. That is going to take a little bit longer just because I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get the hold, that because I'm going to check pretty much all of these out from the library. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get that hold. After that, this isn't an exact order of when I'm going to read it. This is like, I only have so much planned out ahead of time just because I'm a bit of a mood reader. But I want to have some planned out ahead of time because a lot of these books are going to end up being holds and stuff like that. So Spy Family is next. Bayou Magic is on the short list. The Last Quintista, which this is literally the most gorgeous book cover I've ever seen in my fucking life. The Last Quintista, Goliath, All's Well, These Violent Delights. One that's not on here is The Library of the Unwritten. As well, another one that's not on here is Slay, Gin City, Wife of the Gods, Olga Dies Dreaming, and The Sunbear Trials. Do I think I'm going to get to all of these this year? Probably not. I will probably end up reading this many books the rest of the year. But that's fine. We stay hopeful. We stay hopeful. And we have 2 other books on this list that I'm for sure going to be getting to this year but they're not a part of like the 5-star book draft because part of the rules for it were no rereads and no books from a series you've already started, just because those are definitely going to be different. Like, those are going to be competing with different aspects to them than a book you've never read before, you know? And that is going to be The Fairy Tale Detectives. That's the first Grimm Sisters book, and then The Lord Beneath the Lupins, which is the last Diana Flowers book. I've loved the series so much. I'm so nervous to finish it because I don't want it to be over. Fergus is probably my number 1 book crush right now, and I'm not ready to let that go. And then you already saw, so say it with me, the other books you gotta read. The Queen of Thieves series by Brianna Bott. Yeah, that is it for me with the mid-year freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me for a little bit. Wish me luck on the rest of my year's reading journey. We hope for many good books. We hope for many 5 stars. I do have like one book that I want to read that I don't know if I doubt it's going to be a 5-star read. I'm going to be going into this book thinking it's probably going to be a 1-star. But the premise is so fucking ridiculous that I just have to check it out. But otherwise we hope we would like the other ones to have a 5-star chance. The other ones have that potential. We would just like to see that potential realized. If you want to, I do have a bookstore. Link is down below, and over there you can go ahead and purchase some of these books that I've listed. Purchase some of the books in some of my other videos. My books are exclusively on Amazon, so you can check those out over there. That is also linked down below, as well as some other books that I've written. And yeah, that's about all from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye, friends.